Hey Southeast, I hope you are doing well. 2 weeks ago, we started a new sermon series called Stories of Grace, and it's basically a story on evangelism, how to share your story. And so the first week, Derek Murphy joined us. He is the executive director of Intermountain Church Planners Association, which is one of the ministries we support. And so it was great to hear from him. And he talked about God's story. And one of the things that we learn about God's story is that Jesus is building his church, and he does it through people. God's story is always about people. And then last week, we heard from Logan Wolf. He is the pastor at Cross Point, a local church here in the Valley, and a good friend. Derek's a good friend too, but grateful to hear from Derek and Logan. And Logan talked about our story, and he brought up a fascinating point, how so many times in life, when you surrender your life to Christ, we think about how God makes us new and that we are a new creation in him, which is absolutely 100% true. And however, we forget the second part of our new identity in Christ, and that is that we are ministers of reconciliation. So our responsibility then is to become an ambassador for Christ. Now, a lot of times we have anxiety, we have depression, we feel frustration. We do this because we're so focused on what God is doing in our life in terms of making us new, that we forget that we have a task to go out and do, to be a witness for him. He used the verse 2 Corinthians 5:17-18. Therefore, if anyone in Christ, he is a new creation. So you are a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. All this is from God, who through Christ reconciled us to himself and gave us the ministry of reconciliation. And so it's important that when you think about your relationship with Christ, your new identity in Christ, it's so important to recognize that as Jesus is building his church through people, he makes them new, but he challenges them, he sends them to be witnesses for his kingdom, ambassadors for his kingdom, ministers of reconciliation, as Paul says here. And this coming week, I'm going to be sharing a lesson on knowing other people's story. Like what do they need? So when you run into the person at the grocery store, when you have a family member, how do you witness to them? What is it that they need? And big surprise. But what they need is grace. They need grace. So I hope you can join us this Sunday. A couple things that are coming up. One is this Sunday we're having another park day. It's on the 18th, and it's just after church. Go grab your lunch and then meet at Mountain View Park and just hang out, have a good time, fellowship, all that sort of stuff. And then coming up on the 25th, we have our student ministry, so that is 6th grade through 12th grade, is partnering with K2 and their student ministry, and it's going to be Color Wars, and it's just going to be a great time. So I want to encourage you that if you are a junior high or high school student, or you have a junior high or high school student, to encourage them to come on the 25th for Color Wars, and that goes from 5 to 7. Southeast, I love you. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week, and God bless.